There he is. All right, that's what the video is actually going to be about. So I got a 10-foot blade. He'd never be a basketball player, but let me tell you, he rigged one hell of a boat. That's Skylar, by the way. We're down at GF Marine. I got big power poles, 10-foot blades on the back of my boat. I got them on last year's boat. Best decision I could ever make. But what I'm going to show you in this video, and actually Skylar more so, we're going to do like a little install hack video. My buddy Rich at Hydrilla Gear makes some what I think are killer accessories that solve a lot of problems, especially if you run big power poles like this. When it comes to power poles, dude, they add to the power poles, they add functionality, and they just make your life easier when you're fishing on the water. So hit that like and subscribe button. We're gonna get to installing and hacking out these poles. So I got my 10-foot blades right here. You know, the best part about 10-foot blades is also the worst part. It's the length, right? So if you have a standard garage, you got a carport that's a little lower, maybe you live in an older house and you got one of those overhangs, it's tough to fit your boat in, right? Because they're so tall. So my buddy Rich developed what's called the power pole folding bracket, and basically it's this sandwich extra bracket you put between your power pole bracket and the power pole itself. And what it allows you to do is fold those poles forward. He also added something for 2025 that's called the locking mechanism. So basically you can fold those poles forward, and normally, you know, they might move a little bit. It's a little arm that you insert in there that I'm going to show you in a minute that locks them into position so you can drive with them. They're locked in, they're not going to jostle or anything like that. Now installing them is a real simple process. Basically you have that two sides of the power pole Hydrilla Gear bracket. You're going to put one side onto the pole itself. You're going to bolt that thing down. You're going to take the other side of your bracket and you're going to put it onto your power pole bracket next to your motor. Once you get those things screwed down and tightened down, all you have to do is bring that power pole up, and it's literally going to click in to the pin mechanism that's on that receiver end on the power pole bracket. Click your locks in. Once you have that done, it's as simple as releasing those locking pins on one side and just rolling that thing forward into a stow position. All right, boys, next step. I don't know about you, I hate my anchor light. I hate having to get it out. I hate having to stow it. It always gets in the way of co-anglers, but you know, for the best time of the day, sun going down, fish are biting, you need it. But I hate plugging it in, all that stuff. So my buddy Rich did this. This is the Hydrilla Gear anchor light. It's an LED. It's badass, dude. And what's really nice is it's all streamlined and integrated into the boat electronics or into your dashboard for your lights already. So install's really simple. All you're gonna do is patch this thing in to your anchor light wiring harness where it's at. The bracket on the light is actually made to screw in right to the head of that power pole. So you're gonna drill a small hole in that plastic sort of elbow or juncture, run that wire out, and then you're going to patch it in with the hydraulic tubes for the power poles, and then it actually threads inside the power pole. So you're going to thread it through that sort of cupping or that curvature. There's some sticky tabs with little zip ties on them. You run the wire through there. It's super solid, and a little sneaky thing is, dude, if you get out there and the sun's going down or the light's just coming up and you want to catch some brim or get the brim moving in the grass, you drop your power poles with that light on, and all the bait and the brim, the crappie, all that stuff all come to the light. It's kind of cool. It's a real easy way to fix, though, the hassle of running around with that anchor pole light. It's actually Kyle back there. Kyle owns GF Marine. So last step we're going to do is we're going to put on what's called the broadhead. And it's a real simple little hack on the power poles, right? I don't know if you've ever been in this situation. You're like on a bunch of boulders and rocks, things along those lines. You drop your poles and you get a little bit of slippage, or you're on like a clay or a marl bottom and you don't get penetration by the poles, and you do get a little bit of flex and slippage. What the broadhead does, and one thing I was really surprised about how well it works on like boulders and extremely hard rock, it doesn't actually penetrate them, but it gives you more of a grip, I guess you could say, on those harder objects. And the broadhead is a real simple deal. It's a cap to the end of the power pole that has an extremely fine point, just like an arrow broadhead, right? And it allows that pole to stick down in deeper or penetrate whatever the bottom is, or it clamps into those rocks and that harder bottom, a road bed, things along those lines, and decreases that shifting or that skidding that you get when you're using the power poles, no matter what kind you use. Installation is super simple. All you're going to do is take that broadhead, you're going to fill it with the epoxy it comes with, mix it up, dump it in there. You can score the edge of the bottom of the power pole a little bit with some sandpaper, and then you're just going to kind of twist it and kind of roll it in. One thing to watch is that air pressure will blow out some of that epoxy because it's all gooed up in there. So when you pop it on, you're going to get some overflow, but that's not a bad thing. Just have a rag ready and you can just wipe off the sides. And then once you're done popping that thing on there, just drop the poles, leave them down for 30 minutes, an hour, however long you're taking to rig the boat, or if you're leaving the boat, leave them down as long as possible, and that'll keep pressure on that broadhead as that epoxy goes ahead and cures. That is going to be a wrap on our power pole mods, dude. They're not essential, but I'll be honest, they solve a bunch of problems and they've really helped me. You know, the folding brackets, if you're in tight spaces, you go to an Airbnb you're not familiar with and they got a little carport that's kind of low, it just gives you a lot of flexibility where you can put the boat because it's so easy to fold them over. And with the new locking bracket, if you prefer to travel with the poles down, you can just lock those things in. You don't got to worry about any kind of ratchet strap or them shifting while you're driving. When it comes to the light, it's just such a huge annoyance for me to have that anchor pole all the time to get it out. Like, I'm catching fish, the sun's going down, and I got to get out the anchor pole because I don't know if the police are going to swing on by. It saves the hassle, and that's a big thing for me, and it's integrated into your control panel, so it's easy peasy. The last thing, you know, those broadheads, I think if you guys try them, you'd be really surprised, especially if you fish some really hard bottoms, how well they grip in and get you traction. That skidding motion that you get sometimes when the wind's blowing and you're on a very just sturdy, hard bottom, it solves that problem. There's no more of that skidding down a shell bar, skidding down a road bed, things along those lines. It's a cool little addition, super easy to install, and just makes fishing, which we love to do, we love our time out there, it just makes you a little more efficient. I'll put links to everything down in the description box. My buddy Rich from Hydrilla Gear makes it all. He's been my boy for like 15, God, longer than that. I'm starting to get old, dude. But check this out. He's super down to earth, and literally his cell phone is on the website. So if you guys got any questions about this or electronics or anything, holler out my boy Rich, dude. I'll put it down in the description box, a link to his website for you guys to check out. But hopefully in the next few days, we are going to get fireballs all wet and see what you can do. We will see you out there, though. Hit that like and subscribe button for me. Later, boys.